G'day YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to today's very different video on YouTube. I'm actually at Middleton Lakes. I'm actually walking in the opposite direction. Unfortunately, I'm a bit devastated because look what's happened to the nature reserve. I can't hear any sounds. In fact, do you know what's missing? I don't hear any big cacophonies of seagulls. There's not that much in the way of seagull noises. In fact, it's gone very quiet. It's so eerily quiet, you just can't hear. I don't know what's going on, but the breeding population has declined. Might be to do with avian flu. Oh, there's a pheasant. Oh look, we've got two male pheasants right here. Don't know if they like bread or not. Don't think they're very keen on bread, that's what I'm guessing. But I can hear the seagulls. Maybe if I can try and hand feed them. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I might as well just have a look at the nature reserve with the seagulls right there. Not that much. It's a bit disappointing actually. I don't see that many black-headed gulls nesting here. Population here has declined. I don't know why, but it looks like it has shrunk. I'm only seeing about 4, possibly 6. That's a new low. Like I've seen, like last year, I mean the breeding colony was straightforward. It was good, but then, you know, obviously when I just went to the reserve last year, I don't know what's going on. That's not a very good sight to see. I don't understand why. Maybe that just sort of begs the question why there are no, you know, I don't really see that many black-headed gulls. I don't understand why there isn't that many here. I haven't got a chance really. By the looks of it, it's just not that great seeing that much. Because look at the islands; they're all completely overgrown. There's not that much open space, so you can see why it's not that great. You can see there's just too much vegetation here. There's actually so much of it. Bit of a shame actually. I just somehow don't see why. Yeah, you can only just see there's about 1, 2, 3, there's 4. I mean, that's actually a bit of a shame really, seeing it's very minimal. I can see, is that a reed warbler? Well, I'm pretty sure that's a reed warbler. Look, about 3, 4, 5. We can just see about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Seagulls right there. Don't know if I should straightforward, or possibly 6. Maybe I can, or 7. I can actually deploy a bit of bread if I want to, see how they're going to react. And there's a common tern here on the background. I can just see 1. That's on the nesting platform. But I don't see that much in the way of colonial nesting activity. Bit sad to see. By the looks of it, it's a bit saddening actually. You don't see that many black-headed gulls. It's very small. I'm only just seeing about 3 on this side, and then there's 2, but relatively about 5. That's actually even more smaller than when I went to like other parks in general. That's like relatively small, and here's quite a few more of them. There's basically about 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not that big. To me, that's not very big at all. I've decided to load the bread. Right here because I do know that it's a complete waste of time here, but I'm just laying it all out because I just can't stand with other bird watchers. They're just coming in towards this place. Yeah, it's not that great really, but I'm just straightforward feeding it. There's other bird watchers here, which man, it's just unstandable. I'm just waiting for the seagulls to come and collect one of my breads right here. They're not really that hungry, but I'm pretty sure they might actually be. I mean, this is actually quite a very hard job. I just don't know what's going on, but I don't see them coming up towards my bread or anything. This is just... And as you can see, the birds are not really that hungry yet. The bird that we've just thrown out, they're not really that hungry. Yep, they're actually not doing it. They're not feeling any signs of starvation involved in it. I'm gonna have to somehow just stand back, but it's not actually working. They're only relying on the water that's right down there, of course. They're just not feeling any hunger. I don't know what to really say, but I'm actually really ticked off. Because I'll tell you what, you know one thing that has just happened? I just really got into an argument, okay? So let me get this straight. So I was honestly trying to feed the birds with this packet, and the birds didn't come along right here. And there's not many birds right here. But you know what's also another big problem? There's also other bird watchers. Seriously, I really want to feed the birds, but I'm just really sick and tired of people trying to complain to me and say, no, you're not allowed to feed the birds. I just want to have a bit of fun, really. That's the fun part. You know, who knows? I'm just straightforward thinking about maybe, you know, making contact with critters that I rarely ever see with this. I'm just straightforward, you know. It feels like I'm in a bit of a loophole. That's somehow a bit strange, but I just don't see that many seagulls right here. I somehow don't know why. And so as I go around this whole nature reserve here, all of it is just green vegetation and stuff. And somehow I'm not seeing that much in the way of seagulls. Look at that. Look at the whole place. It's not very big on seagulls. Can you see what's going on here? The whole place is inundated with just plants and greenery. And you can see why there's not many nesting sites there. There's no seagulls there. Look at that. It used to be filled with seagulls, but there's none. Look at that. I can see some Egyptian geese there. But can I see any seagulls there? Not that many, isn't it? You're doing a count? That's a bit disappointing. I don't see any, like, nesting black-headed gulls. Look at the colony itself. It's not very big. You can see why it's so often looking a little bit different. I've just came here and we can see, like, are these, I don't know what these birds are. Are these like reed warblers? I'm pretty sure they're reed warblers, because they're the little brown birds that sort of dangle on like little reed beds. Not seeing that many seagulls right here. It's somehow looking bad, actually. I don't know why, but I don't see that many seagulls nesting in this park right there. As you can see, it's just looking a tad smallish. I don't know why. Not the sort of place I really want to come along and feed the birds here. Okay, there goes my 5 cents here. I don't think it's a great place to feed the birds here, but as you can see, there's not many seagulls right there. It's a bit disappointing. As I walk around the park right there, I can see an oyster catcher. Yeah, there's just piping away and stuff. I did see an incredible shoveler bird, but can you see any seagulls there? There's not that many. Look at that. You're doing a count? Nope, not that many is what I can really say. Not that many. Sort of disappointing. You don't see that many seagulls right there. Maybe they've gone up to other colonies. I don't know. It just doesn't bode well. It's just quiet as hell. I've never ever seen that like it before. And there's more geese right there. Not really the sort of place I'll be feeding the birds there. Yeah, the colony is not really that big. You can see why it's not looking that, it's not looking that good. Honestly, I think by the looks of it, it's just horrible. I think there's been a massive cull of birds, probably avian flu. Yeah, it's probably sad, but I can see flocks of grey-lag geese. Look how they just fly and migrate. Look how they just fly in a small flock. Yeah, it's not really that great actually. Not really that great. Oh, look what I've just found. There is an avocet being chased by a black-headed gull. It's the first time I've never ever seen some of these birds. It's an avocet. I've never seen an avocet before in my life. It's quite somehow incredible. It's all nice and quiet. At least there's no noise or anything. It's actually looking quite beautiful right here. I haven't seen an avocet. They're actually quite rare birds. I've never ever seen one of these. It's the first time I've seen avocets before. There's actually quite a few pairs of them. There's actually, I think I can only just see about 1, 2, 3 of them. Somehow it's quite a nice number, seeing that. I can see a lapwing right there. Yeah, but it's not looking that great. The number of seagulls here, not really good. Not really that great. Yeah, there's not that many actually. Not that many here. Oh, we've got some geese right there. Look how they're just migrating. It's all mixed in the way they travel in a V shape. All going away now. I think they're just spooked by the fireworks at the background here. I don't know if it's fireworks or something else that makes a bit of a banging sound. Oh, I can see a grey-leg goose right there. Wonder where it's going to go to. Wonder if I hold a bit of bread out here. Not sure if it's interested. No. Doesn't look like it's interested. It's just going off to somewhere. That's it. That goose is just going away here. Oh, thank goodness. I'm actually finally back right now. I can see an avocet and a lapwing feeding right here. In fact, I can see lots of lapwings. And also a few ducks as well too. And I've actually found a very good spot, but there's an electric fence in the way. But I'll just be very careful in how to feed the birds with some bread and see how this one goes. Let's see if I can experiment with this. Let's see how this one goes. Just see, there's one there that's actually having a feed, and this avocet here, wonder what's it feeding? Probably insects and all. It's actually quite a very heartwarming and beautiful sight to see. I've never ever seen an avocet before in my life, and that straightforward, taking the urge to relieve my stress out, thank goodness, that is actually amazing. And then we've also got this lapwing right here, and it's actually quite good somehow. What's that noise? Probably the noise of another bird. Could be oyster catcher, it could be lapwing. Oh, I can see a common tern, there it is. It's got a fish on its beak. Is that a frog I'm hearing? That's very unusual. And I can also see a pair of gadwall straightforward coming right up. You ready? I think I can see some seagulls out there, attracted to the bird. I can see them. Oh, there's one. Oh, it doesn't seem to look interested. Oh, they're coming. They're coming for a bit of food. I think they're circling. Oh. Very patiently, they might get some bread. Have they got the bread? Oh yeah, they've got bread. Oh yes, they've got the bread. Oh no, avocet's not happy. Whoops. It's not very happy, that bird. Hopefully they get more bread. I'm sure they will, actually. Hopefully they should somehow start to see some bread. I thought they had. Maybe they did. Maybe they just had one go of bit of bread. Now, doesn't seem that interesting, I suppose. I can see one that's actually floating. I think that avocet must have basically how do you call it? It must have straightforward charged at them for disturbing. It must have straightforward disturbed its private sort of spot. Not really great in English, but you know what I mean. Yeah, there's not many birds around Middleton Lakes. In fact, the population has straightforward dwindled. somehow a bit small. The seagulls were trying to go after for a bit of bread. I can still see a bit of bread that hasn't been touched. But I'm sort of thinking maybe by the time when the birds are already hungry, they might somehow get it. Look at that lapwing. I think the way they just fly is very, very incredible. And you can definitely see there's actually a bit of bread that hasn't been touched. But I'm pretty sure one of the seagulls has got a bit of bread. I might as well just leave it in that case. Because I want to see how this all works. By the time when this bread component, maybe there could be fish underneath this water that might come along and decompose a bit of bread that no one even knows it's there. It's somehow a bit strange, but you can just somehow see how just beautiful seeing how Mother Nature works. And strangely enough, I do apologise for getting a bit stressed here just because I wanted to feed the birds, but then there were other bird watchers that were coming in, so I didn't want to disturb them or just to have a very nasty encounter with a complaint saying, hey, why are you feeding the birds here? They'll get straightforward, yeah. But what's interesting is, apart from this section here, I can also see some more birds here. I can see swans, more ducks, more geese, right over in the reserve. I can actually somehow see so many of them. And there's a grey-lag goose that's actually coming in. And oh, that looks like one of them is the intruder. It's not really that great. Yep. Yeah, so I'm actually walking away from the reserve, and I actually feel a bit better now, considering that this is actually a nature reserve and not a country park to feed the birds. Somehow a bit strange. It sort of tells me that because it's a nature reserve, you can see why there's electric fences, and I actually threw them just straightforward a distance away from the electric fence, because I do know that those electric fences can straightforward be very dangerous and lethal if you're very close throwing at them. So it's probably best to just straightforward keep a distance away from it. And I can see 3 little egrets flying away. Was it 2? Can't really tell, because I did see there was another one right here. But anyways, I'm just going to straightforward walk around at this part of the nature reserve. We can see is that one of the big seagulls being attacked by a lapwing? It looks like it is. It's been chased down and mobbed by some sort of lapwing. Oh well. But yeah, it's not really the greatest place to feed the birds, because honestly, there's a lot of like electric fences right here. And obviously it's a bit different. I mean, I really do enjoy feeding the birds, but at the same time, looking for rare species, it's not simple. Yeah, it's not the great place to really feed birds here. It's more of a nature reserve. I mean, it's just because it has seagulls on it doesn't exactly mean it's very much legalised to feed the birds with bread. I mean, some people say, oh, that's polluting. I can understand why it pollutes the water, but it was just for fun. Clearly, that was the main reason why I was feeding the birds with bread. It was for fun purposes, and it wasn't just because I wanted to do something that was horrible. It was a fun purpose, and that's why I've decided to make that statement very clear. I only wanted to come along and feed the birds with some bread just to see a bit of fun activity. But the problem is that the nature reserve only relies on food that is already provided for the birds in the nature reserve. But then, you know, that's one of these things. You know, you either want to straightforward, I don't know what to really say. It's a little bit like you want to get the cane. Oh, there's a big Airbus A380 here. That's straightforward, something interesting. I can see an Airbus A380. That's just gone inside through clouds. But the problem is that if you're going up towards nature reserves, best part is, I think the worst part is just don't feed the birds. Clearly, that's the strongest advice. In fact, just don't feed them at all. That's probably a much better, simple solution. And there's a grey heron flying around here. You know, the only solution is don't feed the birds with bread, because all you're going to do is pollute the water. And worst of all, you're gonna straightforward, how do you say it? I don't know what to really think of a very simple word, but it sort of becomes a denutrient. It sort of pollutes the water. It sort of makes the birds a little bit unhealthy. I think that's the main purpose of bird. It makes it super unhealthy, if you ask me. But rather than I'm just walking around, I can see some lapwings, swans, I can see a little egret, moorhens, coots, geese, that sort of stuff. But I'm going to be straightforward walking back to the car and do some shopping because, well, I've got a lot of groceries to go ahead and buy. I mean, it's not the best as a bit of a trip, but I think that's all I can really pull off. Just a little bit of bird feeding, but that's not really that great. That wasn't really what I was actually going to be expecting. Seeing a bit of bird feeding in the park. Honestly, it's not a park, it's a nature reserve. I mean, give me a flippin' break. But then, hey, you know, put it this way, I mean, the good side of it in this trip is the rare birds. The only downsizing is that you have to rely on other bird watchers. And if you ever get shouted at the face, well then that's your day. That's the big problem. If you get told off for straightforward feeding birds, that's it. Your numbers are over. Your days are straightforward over. You can't go back to your own happiness unless if you become a sensible person these days. Well, that's it. Might as well just straightforward end the video and that's it. But in this walkabout, I'm actually going to head back to the same area of where the seagulls were nesting because I'm quite curious on why the lake has changed a bit. Honestly, I think if you remember my previous video in 2024, I didn't feed the birds with any bread at all at this park. It was actually at Kingsbury Water Park. It wasn't Middleton, okay? So it's a totally and utterly different place. So people can come along and feed the birds here. But yeah, I just somehow can't believe why it's somehow a little bit different to really say about this sort of trip. It's almost like you just want to do one thing and then one thing takes over and then you want to try and beat that damn thing and then that's it. Your days are over. Okay, as I'm actually straightforward walking to the main lake side here. Strangely enough, it feels somehow a bit different. I can see a couple of geese flying away. And I wonder where they're off to. Somewhere I really don't know of, but yeah, there's a couple of black-headed gulls here, but the colony is not as big as it was. It's not the same. A bit disappointing, actually. I don't know why we're getting less black-headed gulls than we had in previous trips. In fact, I had it on a video in 2019. It was already filled with birds and it was bustling, but there's none. Like, there's none of that cacophony going around here. A bit of a shame, actually, but I'm going to go up towards right here. And actually, I'm just going to look closely at some of the birds that I never had the chance to observe. I can see a great crested grebe. I did see a shoveler as well. But, yeah. It's actually quite a good spot to look at some birds here. But rare species, very good, but then the bird feeding experience, not very good. Because you have to rely on other people as well. That's the only problem. Because, you know, that's the problem with going outside to nature reserves. And strange enough, here are the two gulls that have somehow, they're actually just flying randomly. I don't know why they're sort of flying like that. They're just finding food right here. You can see why it's not that big. There's more firework displays going around here. And look, there's a bit of bread that hasn't been consumed. Maybe the seagulls must have gotten to it. That sort of tells me about the place. It's not as great as what I'd actually thought it would be, but look at that. It's just sort of finding food in the water. Look at that. They're all just hawking for food in the water. I can't see if they've got any chicks and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they do. Because that's what they're meant to be having. I'm pretty sure there could be like seagull chicks. Oh, I can see some ducklings. right there as well. There's more reed warblers. A lot of reed warbler activity right here. It's quite a nice nature reserve, but to be honest, the lack of seagulls makes it a bit disappointing actually. Oh well, that's one of these trips. You either win or you either lose. Doesn't seem to work. There you go. It's pretty totally dysfunctional. It's, yeah, you can see why the birds aren't hungry in that park. They're not really straightforward after that bread. I think I've probably spent an hour or so in this place. I might have to straightforward head back to the car because I need to do some shopping. But sorry about this amazing. Okay, I just had to lose my straightforward. Okay, I just had to let out some of the steam here because I was getting straightforward petrified of other bird watchers just because I was feeding birds. I mean, what can I go wrong? I mean, what can I really do to just straightforward think about feeding the birds while coming to this nature reserve and also at the same time enjoying nature? And then also letting other people enjoy nature as well too. I mean, I really do love going outside for nature, but then the big problem is you've also got other people as well too, so it's almost like a complete seesaw of up and down days, if you like to call it that way. Strange, I'm not seeing any like other critters in the park, the nature reserve as it is, but that's all I can really say. It's not as great as the trip during 2024, but I think it's well worth coming to the place, Middleton Lakes. A lot of rare birds there. I've seen quite a few avocets in the park. Quite a fantastic place. Pretty much well recommended to go there. Ooh. Ooh, I'm actually sweating. My goodness me. But what do you think about the place? So, not much I could really say here in this video, but I might as well just straightforward end the video and that's it. Okay, if you really straightforward enjoyed this video, I don't know what to really say. I probably guess it wasn't that great, probably because there wasn't that many seagulls here, but it's just how it is. But the experience of bird watching was actually alright actually. I just saw a lot of rare birds like lapwings, avocets, oyster catchers, you know the drill, and there's even more people. I've got a jump cut here. So as I've just teleported through the woodland section of the place, and I'm actually back in the woodlands now. Isn't it a lot much more calmer now? I'm actually straightforward glad that I've let off some steam just because I wanted to enjoy a bit of nature. So if you really enjoyed this video, please give this video a good like, subscribe for more videos in the future, and as always, thanks so much for watching and bye for now. I might have to straightforward head back to the car and do some shopping. This is a bit weird. Pheasant just straightforward made some weird noises in the background. Great.